this is going to be the second part of our tutorial series for AutoCAD, where I'm going to kind of continue on working on the plan, and hopefully we'll move forward with the section and so on. So in the first part, I've already showed you most of the tools that we're going to use. So here it's just design, right? It's just adding geometry into our plan. So let me keep the camera there. That's fine. Should be okay. Okay, so we finished off by creating openings here for the window, for the doors and whatnot, and creating a little room for our sink to be in. Well, it's probably going to be somewhere here, the shower and the toilet. So let's continue. So the thing that I want to do is probably add a little bit more detailing to the window, a little bit more detailing to the doors and whatnot, and then continue on working with this area right here. So first of all, I'm going to create a window. So remember where I showed you before, if you have a window like that, and I'll just draw it in thin lines without any thicknesses. Let's say you have, a regular window in a facade, and it's in a hole in a wall, right? And you're cutting through it like so. And you're looking down on it, right? You're looking downwards through the cut. You're cutting through the wall right here and right here. You're cutting through the wall, you're cutting through the glass, and you're cutting through the frames of the window. So if you have divisions, you would be cutting through the middle frame as well. But I think for a window this size, we don't need any divisions. It's just going to be... Why is it lagging? Oh, let's do 50. It's just going to be this kind of window. So we're going to cut through the frame here, through the glass here, through the frame here, right? So let's do that. Window frame, what I prefer to use is 5 by 5 centimeters, right? It's not accurate, but that is enough for our level of detail that we're going to be using. So since we're cutting through the frame, I'm going to be using a thick line, right? And I'm actually going to just draw the cut of a frame anywhere on the screen, doesn't matter. With a Polyline tool, just hit that F8 button or ortho snapping on, so that it's horizontal or vertical, and I'll just give it 50, enter, to the side, 50, enter, to the side, 50, enter. There we go, something like that. So you could do a rectangle, but I don't know. I'm used to drawing it in Polyline. Now we need to take this frame and place it in the middle of this opening here, right? On this side and on this side. So I'm going to take the frame, I'm going to move it, M, enter, and I'm going to move it from its, let's say, top middle point here, all the way out to the middle point right here. Right here. There we go. Click. Now it's here. Then I just take it, I copy it by using the command copy. For some reason it's not making a copy. I don't know why. Let's try again. Copy from here to here. There we go. Now we have a cut through the frame, right? So this area right here is done, and this area right here is done. Now we will be cutting through the window as well, through the glass, sorry, as well. And for the glass, since it's this is just graphics, but I prefer to do it this way. Since we are indeed cutting through the glass, you would think that we will be using a thick line, but since glass is inherently transparent, I prefer to use a medium line thickness for it, just so that it's not too thick, right? So let me jump to the medium layer and just draw a line from the midpoint here to the midpoint here. So that is our glass in the window. The thing is that if you think about it, we are indeed cutting through the glass, but we are also seeing the bottom of the frame right here, right? This edge right here will be seen, right? Which means that here we need two more lines to show the bottom of the frame. And for those two lines, since I'm using a medium line to show the cut through the glass, I will be showing those two lines that we actually see at the bottom of the window as a thin line, right? I will represent it with a thin line. The reason why I'm doing this, is because once we print it out or plot it out as a PDF and we have it zoomed out, I don't want these three lines to merge into one thick one, right? Just because we are so zoomed out and the thicknesses eat each other up, right? So I have them separated into two thin lines and one medium line rather than thick and two medium lines, which would be a little bit more accurate, but wouldn't represent the window that well. That's basically it. We have a window now, right? We have the glass, the bottom of the frame, and the cut through the frame right here. Okay, window is done. Now the door. Perhaps we should use, on which door do we start working on? Let's work on this one, right? So the door is, it's basically drawn, I can show you somewhere here. The door is basically just drawn as always being opened, unless it's a reconstruction project and you already have existing doors in the previous project which you reconstruct, then those doors are usually shown half opened at 45-degree angle. But in this case, since these are new doors, we are going to be showing them at completely opened at 90 degrees angle from the wall. And they will incorporate a door swing like so, right? Well, not like so, actually. I'm going to make this quite fast. Like that. So it's going to be the door swing, showing the travel of the door when you open it up, as well as the door itself being open. The door is shown in a thick line because you're cutting through the door, and the opening of the door is shown in a thin line because it's a non-existing geometry, right? It's something that you just use as a markup to show the travel. So you don't even need to have a medium line for that. It needs to be a thin line. So that kind of doorway needs to be here, needs to be incorporated here. So the way I really like doing it is by creating a line tool here. Do we do it that way? Maybe we want a little bit of an offset. Okay, let's first do a little bit of an offset. So I will create a line, or rather two lines, from here to here, and from here to here, these two line segments. And I will give them a little bit of an offset, 5 centimeters at most. We can do even less. We can do 2 centimeters, it's up to you, but I prefer using 5. So 5 centimeters, enter. I'll just offset that line inwards like so by 5 centimeters, and that line inwards like so, also 50 millimeters, 5 centimeters. So now we have these two floating lines here, and these two guidelines that we first had. I don't need them anymore, so I can delete them. So this is a bracket in which our door is going to be held, and treat these two lines as your helper lines. right? We will be deleting them later on. So now what I do is I create a straight line segment in a thick layer from the midpoint here to the midpoint here, like that, right? I select it, and now I want to open up the door, right? So this doorway, or this door board, I want to rotate it, right? So I'm going to use a tool that's called rotate, enter. It's going to ask me for a point around which I'm going to be rotating. So let's say the door hinge is right here, that point. And basically then I can just either move it like so, move the mouse like so and click, or I can type in 90 degrees and hit enter. Well, not 90, sorry, minus 90. So apparently, if you add positive values, it's going to rotate counterclockwise. If you had negative values, it's going to rotate, no, sorry. Negative values are clockwise, positive values are counterclockwise. So again, rotate, select this object, enter, rotate around here, minus 90 degrees. There we go. So now it has been opened. And now all I need to do is just create that arc, right? So I can either use a circle tool and trim away stuff from the circle tool, or I can just use arc. Well, let me show you it done in both ways. So let me do it with the circle tool first. I will create a circle from here to here, from the midpoint here to the end of the door here. I will create one more line from midpoint here to midpoint here, like that. And now I will trim, enter, enter again, and I'll just get rid of the unnecessary parts of the circle to just get that arc there. And now I can delete all of the unnecessary stuff and change the arc of the doorway, right? Of the door swing. So that's that. I will show another method of how to create that arc in this version here, because we need a doorway here. So let me do the same thing first. From here to here, we have a line segment. From here to here, we have a line segment. I offset them 50 millimeters, offset inwards, escape out, delete the trash or the helper lines, like that. Create a line segment, bam, something like this. Rotate, that, and this time around it's going to be counterclockwise, so it's just going to be 90 degrees, like that. And now what I can do is I can just create an arc, let's say, arc tool, or A, enter, and I will say that the center point of the arc, or rather, I will not be using start point of an arc, but rather I will be using the center mode for the arc tool. So I'll click on that in the bottom, which will ask me to give it a center. So the center is going to be located right here, where the door starts, right here. And I'm just going to draw an arc from this point to this point. That's it. That's an arc that has been created. Now we clean up the trash again and change the arc layer to thin. That's it. So those are two different methods of how you can actually use the, or how you can add the arc. Sorry about this. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, moving on. So we have two doorways, we have a window. Perhaps I want a window here as well, but first of all, I need to plan out how my whole room is gonna look like. So let's say we enter here. We will need some place to put down our coats, and we will need some sort of a place for a bed. And it's just going to be a small bed because we can't have a large bed here. So let me just create, just to see the proportion of the room, let me just somewhere else on the screen, let me just create a size of a bed that I want, and it's going to just be, I'm drawing it with Polyline, 2,100 millimeters long. I'll go for 1 meter 10, 1,100 millimeters wide, 210 or 2,100, and close off the polyline. So that's my bed, and it's going to be in a medium layer. I'm just going to move it somewhere here and start planning out how everything is going to be kind of arranged and how everything is gonna look like. That's not great. Let's see if we can make it better. I'll rotate this from here, here. There we go. Reposition this to here. That's a little bit better. We can have a table here, but the door is going to be obnoxious. That's fine. We can flip the door around. Let's see how wide the table is going to be. So I can check the distance here. I can measure the distance by typing in dist, short for distance, enter, and clicking on 2 points. So from here to here, give me the distance. And right next to my cursor, or also above my command line, well, we can't see it anymore there, I will see the distance. So let me try that again. 1,960 millimeters, 1.9 meters. That's a lot. That's quite enough for shelving and also the table. So I'm gonna do that. I'll create a polyline, and I will say that my table is, let's go for a pretty thin one. Let's go for 600 millimeters. 600, enter, until here, here, here. There we go. And this block is just going to be representing my table, right? So bed, table, there's going to be a chair here, and then this door is in the way, right? It's just messing everything up. So what I'm going to do is I will mirror this door so that it opens up here. The way I do that is just I'll create a line in the opening just to have the midpoint of the line. I will select the door, I'll type in mirror, and then I will use the midpoint of that line. I'll mirror the door horizontally, like so. And when it asks me to erase source objects, I'll actually say yes, right? So that it deletes the old version. That's it. Now it has been mirrored. Quite easy. As you can see, most of the time I have orthographic snapping turned on for this project. Yeah, that is how it is. Okay, so we enter. Really hate the entrance here, though. Like the flow is really bad. I'll solve this later. I'll solve this later. I think there are ways of how to solve this. But for now, let's continue. So now I need a kitchenette, right? So kitchen cabinets always have the same module size, and it's always 60 by 60 centimeters. So the refrigerator, the stove, the sink cabinet, all of them have 60 by 60 centimeters. That's the, not regulation, but the default value, let's say. So I'll switch to medium, and I'll just create that single rectangle of 600 mil by 600 mil by 600, like that. That's our single segment for the kitchen. And I'm thinking of having the kitchen right here, right? So that's, let's say that's our refrigerator, copy. That's going to be our sink, our stove, and, or rather, maybe the stove is here, the fridge is here, the sink is here, and the cutting area and food preparation area is here, right? So we have that. That's good enough. I think that's good enough. And now I can add one more wall right here, just for, how do I call it? Just a separation, you know, kitchen from the entrance. Also, it will create a little bit of a hallway here, which is fine. So I will create a polyline. I'll just draw out, well, let's go for thick line. I'll draw out a wall, but I don't really know how long the wall can be. So what I'm going to do is I will create an offset for the bed, and I'll give it like 900 millimeters, like that, right? So now I know that this gap right here is walkable, and it's easy to kind of walk through, and yeah. So basically I am able to walk around it. So now I know that the longest wall that I can have is something like this, right? In the gap between here, I will create a polyline now, draw it out like so. I'll give it 140 millimeters to the side and finish it up here. And now I don't need the helper line anymore, so I can delete it. So that is my second partition right here, which I think is fine. You enter, you put down your clothes, you can work, you can sleep, you can use the stove, or you can prepare food, and you eat where you work. Yeah, that's fine. That's reasonable, I think. Here, right here, I have a line segment that I don't need in the wall because, you know, my wall kind of continues on here. So I'll just trim it away, trim, enter, enter, get rid of that. And then I'll join up these two separate segments, this one and this one. I'll just type in join to join them up and make it kind of a closed polyline to just have it clean. Okay. Once you enter, you want to put down your clothes somewhere. So I will create a little bit of a shelf, I guess. Not a shelf. Let's just call it clothes storage, right? I will create that, and it's going to be, let's go for 500 millimeters, 500 mil, like that. I have no idea how long this is, so I need to actually, before I create that that area right there, I need to measure distance from here to here. 1.2 meters. We have 1.2 meters for that. Sure, 1.2 by 500 millimeters. So 1,200 by 500, sure. I'll switch to medium line and I'll just draw it out from here to here, 500 to here to here. This is where we put our clothes, right? Now I really want to solve this because this is kind of obnoxious that you need to close, have the door closed. Of course, you most of the time will have the door closed and it's going to work, but visually it's not that nice. So I am going to probably create a toilet here and see how far I can move this doorway away from the desk. So the toilet is, well, actually for the toilet you can consult Neufert, or you can just go to Google. Let me just type that in real quick. Just give me a second. Just a second. There we go. Google toilet dimensions. Dimensions, images, sure, why not? And just find any image here, and then you can see 690 by 35. Let's see. So 69 centimeters by 35 centimeters. Sure. I'll just draw it out as a rectangle for now, because all I care about is just the size. We will make it nice later. 690 in, well, 350 in width, 690 in length, 350, 90, there we go, something like that, and just place it here. Which means that we do have a little bit of room for this to move out, and I think we will use that. I think we will use that. Should we use that? Yeah, maybe we should. So I'm just going to move everything to the side a little bit. The way you do that is, well, you can just kind of select these two polylines here, and notice where we have these points here. I believe we can just kind of move those points around, can't we? Let's see. Yes, we can click on those points, on those corners, and just move them up. And I'll just move them up by just a tiny bit. Do I want to do that? Sorry about this. I need to design it in my head real fast. Do I want to move them? I mean, I do like the center composition here, but maybe we can break the center composition. Nah, I'll keep it. I'll keep it. So I'll escape out of this. And it's lagging. Escape. I'll actually keep it. That's fine. It is what it is, right? The opening, when the door here is opened, you can't go through here, but that is the bane of small houses. My thoughts were that I could move this opening towards somewhere here until here, and then flip the door around again, mirror it back to what it was before, and then you will have a smooth transition into the toilet, the bathroom. But it's not ideal. It's definitely not ideal as well. So might as well just keep it the way this is. It's fine. Let's just move on. So we have our toilet here. The shower, I don't even think we need to create like a separate shower cabinet. I think we can deal with this part here as a shower cabin in general. So that's fine. It will have a mark which shows that, you know, that the shower ends here. And let me just measure the distance real fast. How wide is it? It's 1 meter wide, so it's a pretty damn wide shower. We can actually, we don't need it to be that wide, do we? Well, we kind of do, because if we put a sink here, then we need a gap here. Yeah, so okay, we will have a pretty large shower, but the depth of it is a little bit too big, I think. Let's see, the distance, 1.15 meters. That's actually reasonable. Usually the smallest shower that you can have is 800 by 800 by 8. Yeah, 800 by 800 millimeters. So something like this. So here, what we have is basically just a larger shower. That's fine. That's fine. Maybe I will indeed move this line back by negative, or not negative, just 150 millimeters. So it's meter by a meter, a little bit cleaner, right? So this is where our shower is. I think we have it planned out. I think that's good enough. Now just adding a few bits and pieces here to the walls to make it a little bit more lively here. Okay, so as you're preparing food, you will want a window for sure. So I will be creating a window here. From here until here, there's gonna be a window. And let me just immediately make it thick line, and let's draw it in a thick line. There's going to be like a long window here. And also you want a window for the desk, depending if you're using a computer or not. Sometimes you don't want the window directly on the desk. So my thoughts are, what if we do a window that is straight up a corner window? So it starts here and it's going to end here, right? So instead of that line, it's just going to be a window all the way around, and it's going to be like a corner window. I think that's gonna look cool. So might as well do it. And also it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge for us to actually make it nice. So window. Right now I have a lot of stuff here that I don't really need to see. So I'm going to expand my layers tab, and I'll hide the thin line and the medium line layers by just clicking on the light bulbs here. So now they're hidden, just so that it's kind of easier for me to work with this. I will trim away, trim, enter, enter, trim away this whole portion of the building, because that's where my window is going to be. I'll make sure to join everything up so that this is a single polyline and this is a single polyline. Sorry. And I'll turn on the medium layer again and make it my active one. And now I'll draw out from here to here. I'll draw out the windowsill. It's gonna be something like that, right? Something like that. And now all I need to do is just fillet the windowsill into a corner, right? So I'll make sure that the radius is set to 0. So fillet, R, enter, R short for radius, enter, 0, enter. So I made sure that there's no rounding. And I will just fillet this with this. Come on, with this line. Enter to repeat the fillet command, and I'll fillet this with this. There we go. So they get kind of extended and filleted into one area or one polyline. Well, they are not one polyline yet. These are two separate polylines that make a corner. So I'll actually create a polyline here. Or a line segment rather, here and here. I'll select all 4 of these lines, that and that, and I'll join them up. Join. That's it. Now it's a single closed polyline. Great. So we have that. Now on to creating the window frames. Well, to do that, I will be reusing this window frame here, window frame cut here. So I'll just copy it. I'll copy it from the side midpoint right here to the midpoint right here. There we go. That's one frame that's being cut. I'll also make a copy to the other side of the window from the bottom midpoint here to the midpoint here. Like that, right? Now I need to know where exactly is the frame going to be located here in the corner. And the way I do that is I'll just draw out 2 helper lines, like that and like that. So it goes from around the outer perimeter of the frame, so from this point as well as from this point. And they meet up in this corner, meaning that now if I take this and I copy it from its corner point here to the corner here. This is going to be like a clean transition, clean 90-degree bend. So I don't need the helper lines anymore. I have the corner frame located right here. Usually the corner frames do have a little bit more of a thickness to them, but in this case, since we're dealing with low low detailing level for our plans, we don't really need to show that. That's fine the way it is. Now on to adding more frames, because this is a pretty long window, so it's going to have partitions. I'm thinking of adding 2 partitions here. So I will first measure the distance between this and this, and I get 3,325 millimeters, which is not great, but that's gonna do the trick. I will just run a calculator. 3325 divided by 3 is 1.1 meters approximately. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this frame and I'll copy it. I'll copy that, that frame cut downwards by 1.1 meters, like that. And I'll take the bottom frame, I'll copy it upwards by 1100, enter. Escape out of the copy. So now I have like a pretty okay transition here. And also, I believe we do want at least one window frame here in the middle. So I'll repeat the process. Distance from here to here, that's 2525. So that's going to be, well, math is hard, okay? Let me grab a calculator. 2525 divided by 2, 1265. So I will actually do this, 1265.5. So I'll take this, this frame right here, I'll copy it to the side, 2565, I believe. Poof! No. 1625.5. 1625.5. No, god damn it. 1265? Let's do it again. I messed that up. Let me measure distance again. God damn it. 2525, right? Yeah, 2525 divided 2, 1265.5. Copy. Come on. Copy. Copy. Here to here, 1265.5. Enter. There we go. In the middle. Yeah. Okay, so we have that done. And actually it's not going to be in the middle, right? Because the frame itself has a certain amount of thickness. Let me just double check with measuring 2 distances. From here to here we have 1215.5, and from here to here we have 1259.5. 1259.5, 1215. So that is going to be, I need to just keep calculator open. 1259.5 minus 1215.5. That's going to be 44 millimeters of an error. So I'm just going to move this further by 44 millimeters. Now it's in the middle. You don't really need to, well, sorry, not 44. That's going to be 22. You don't need to do this. Now as I'm doing it, you don't need to do this. It can be, in this stage, it can be approximate. It doesn't need to be that precise. But just wanted to kind of do it just for purpose of being methodical. Okay, frames are done. Now it's time for glass. So that's just line segments from midpoint to midpoint here, cutting through the glass, mid to mid, mid to mid, mid to mid. That's done. And now with thin line, we'll keep layer turned on. So I had it turned off. So once I selected the thin line layer, it asked me to turn it on. So I did. So with thin line layer, I will create 2 more lines for each of the window frame, like that, like that. I'm just hitting enter to repeat the command. So I'm finishing the command and then hitting enter to repeat the last command to kind of keep drawing the line segments. That, and finally that. Okay, we are done. We have our corner window that is finished. All right, so that is our initial plan, and that seems okay. There's going to be a sink here. Questionable design here. Maybe if we do an arc, it's going to be fine. Let's do an arc. So I'm going to, or rather, let's just do a polyline first. So I know that the distance of this window is 900 millimeters, right? 900 millimeters wide. So I'm just going to make a sink that's 900 in length. And the width of it, I actually want to use like 400 millimeters because it's just a sink. Yeah, sure. Let's use 400. 900, 400. There we go. So we have our sink here, and I'll just move it. Enter, select objects, enter from this point to this point, right? I just kind of move it, and I'll place it in the medium layer like that. And now these corners right here are kind of obnoxious. So what I'm going to do is I will round them off as much as I can. So my thoughts are I need to use fillet, right, for this. So I will use fillet, enter, and I know that this is 400 millimeters. So my radius cannot be larger than 400 because it will just break. It will not work, right? So I'm probably going to use something like 300 millimeters. I think that's going to be enough. So fillet radius, 300, enter. And then this line fillets with this line by 300. Then enter to repeat the fillet. This line fillets with this line by 300. That's it. This is now a little bit better in terms of transition. What I really would encourage you doing in your future projects is where we have the toilet, we have this area which holds the water. This whole area right here can be hidden in a wall, right? It can be placed in the wall, but the wall, of course, needs to become thicker. And as you place it in the wall, above it, you also have possibility for shelves and whatnot, you know, for all of the, you know, toilet paper rolls and so on. So I would encourage you to, in your future projects, just to do something like this. Create a separate, well, in the medium thickness, is it medium? Yeah, let's do medium. In medium thickness, just create a shelf, right? Enter, come on. Just create a shelf that is around 300 millimeters, maybe even less, 200 millimeters wide, like that. Like that. So the shelf eats up the bottom or the last part of the toilet, and the only thing that is kind of sticking out from the shelf is the bowl of the toilet. It's just more aesthetic, it's just nicer, right? So I'll just grab the Polyline tool and redraw just the bowl area of the toilet. For that, I do need to have intersection snapping turned on. Enter, so that I can start drawing from this intersection point here and kind of draw out this U shape here, right? And now I can delete the old version, right? So this is just the bowl, and let's fillet it. Let's make it nicer. So I'll fillet. First, I'll measure the distance from here to here. Well, or rather from here to here, we have 350 millimeters. So half of that is 175 millimeters. So I'll do a fillet of 150 millimeters for both corners. Fillet. R, enter. How much did I say? 150, right? 150 from here to here, 150. Enter again from here to here, 150. So we have that. I will also close off this polyline by just creating a line segment here and joining it with the rest of the bowl, just to have it as a closed polyline. And I will offset the bowl inwards by 50 millimeters, 5 centimeters, just to have something like that. And now I will fillet these two corners here with a little bit less of a radius. So radius is going to be like 50 millimeters, not more than that, just to make it a little bit nicer. So we have that, and then just a small circle. The size of it doesn't matter, the positioning of it doesn't matter. Just to show, maybe a little bit bigger, just to show drainage. Come on, scale around the center point 1.5 times. There we go. So we have a toilet, right? What graphically I like to do is this toilet right here. I like to make all of the inner lines thin while the outer line is medium, right? We are not cutting through the toilet. Here in the shelf, in the case of the shelf, we are cutting through it, but it is a furniture piece, meaning that we are not going to be showing it in a thick line, with a thick line. Rather, it is going to be a medium line, but it is going to have this kind of markup with a thin line. This, right? That means that this is a shelf. Okay, same thing actually for this shelf as well. From here to here, and from here to here, right? Or cabinet, I guess. Yeah. So we have that done. Now for the sink, same procedure. We offset. 50, sure, 50 is fine. Inwards, we fillet. Radius 50. I wonder if that's gonna be enough. Yeah, that's enough actually. That like that. I will create a drainage hole here. I'll just snap to the middle area. That. And I'll create a tap, you know, where water flows from. So I'll create a tap. I don't know, 150 mil maybe. 50 mil, or no, definitely not 50 mil, 20 millimeters, 150, something like that. Very simple. You don't need to get rid of that. You don't need to have it super precise. And this becomes a thin line as well. So that's our sink. For the shower room, I think what we can do is add a little bit of shelving here, just a tiny bit, like 10 centimeters. Like that. Well, that will need to be medium. This is for shampoo bottles and all of that good stuff. Something like this. Then create just a circle somewhere. I'll just snap to the midpoint, let's say here, and I'll say that the circle is 200 millimeters in radius. And just move it probably somewhere here. So that's the shower head, right, which will pour water. Okay, the bathroom is done. The bathroom is indeed done. Let's move on to the bedroom / workroom / kitchen / dining room / living room. To the rest of the space. I'll kind of work on this real quick. So I said that I want to have, maybe refrigeration can go here. So refrigeration is basically just, it's marked out like so. Like that. Then you take all of these lines and you scale them, to the center point by 0.3, let's say, like that. That's refrigeration. Then you have, so you take your food out, you kind of want to place it, and then it's a little bit cramped. Okay, you take the food out. Do you want to place it immediately, or do you have placement here and you cook here and then wash here? Take out, wash, cook, place. Take out, wash, place, cook. Yeah. So okay, so this is going to be a sink, and for the sink, I'm just going to let's just draw out some sort of polyline that's going to be the width of the sink, let's say, is 500 millimeters. The length of the sink, or the length of the sink is 500 millimeters. The depth of the sink is going to be like 300 millimeters, not more than that. 500, finish up, fillet, and then we just fillet it with just a little bit of a radius. I'll just give it like 5 centimeter radius, just so that it's nicer. Like that. Okay, I'll just take the sink then and move it from the center point here to the from the middle point there to the middle point there, and move it inwards into the cabinet by 50 centimeters, something like that, or 50 millimeters, sorry, something like that, so that you have a little bit of area to place your stuff in here. I need a tap, so I'll just borrow the tap from here. Copy. Move it here. Of course, it needs to be rotated, so I'll rotate it. That. Actually fine the way it is, but I like to have them off center. Like that. Trim that away. I'll create a circle here around this midpoint. The size doesn't matter. Like that. That's our sink, right? Nothing more than that. Then this is just a cutting area, so we don't need to do anything with it. And this is our cooking area, cooking stove. So cooking stove is basically, it just has 4 heater blocks, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll just be a little bit cheeky, and I'll separate all of this into 4 segments. And then for each of these 4 segments, I will just create this kind of a diagonal line, and you'll understand why I'm doing this in just a second. So I have these diagonal lines here. Each of them have a center point, right? And I can use those center points to show, to use as center points for my circles, which will show the heater blocks for the stove, right? So usually you have 2 that are in same size, so I'll just use 70 millimeters for this one, 70 millimeters for this one. Then you have one pretty large one. So this one, let's say, is going to be 100 millimeters, and you have one pretty small. Let's do 50 millimeters. Now I don't need anything else. I just have those 4 heater blocks. Looks bad. Why does it look bad? That's because it's too close to the edge here, but well, maybe we can just do this and no one will know. Now it's better. Okay, that's it with the kitchen. I will want to draw a cabinet above the, or maybe I don't want a cabinet. I need to fix one thing. The refrigerator is high, right? And the window is going to be behind the refrigerator. So this is a bad design, right? So I'm going to remake this whole area right here. That's my bad, sorry about that. So actually this wall right here, it needs to extend until the end of the refrigerator. So I'm going to, how do we do this? Well, let's first create that wall segment here. Or rather, first let's create the wall segment here. Like that. Perfect. Now let's actually select the blue windowsill line and move its points from here to here. You can also do trimming and so on, but just moving those points around is fine. So we do that. Then we trim. Enter, enter. We trim away this area right here, like so, and we join everything back up. So this is joined. That's clean. That is also clean. Okay. So now I will take the frame, copy from here to here. How wide is it? From here to here, we have almost 2 meters. That's still too wide. So I'm going to, oh, it's not that wide, but no, I'll still add a division here. So if it's, actually, I'll show you another way of how to do this. If you just draw a line segment here and you use the midpoint of that line as your helper, copy from the midpoint here to the midpoint here and then delete the helper, you don't really need to do any maths. It's right in the middle. That's kind of useful. Actually, I'll just draw out the lines in one layer and then just switch the layers around of already existing lines. Oh man, the sun is shining. That's not usual. You need to do this. That's not usual in Sweden. I assume we will get like 2 weeks of rain now because of this displeasure that we have of the 2 days of sun. Okay, so we're back on track, right? We have this done. All right. What's next? I will add a cabinet above, like near the ceiling, but I will do that later, not now. Let's solve this and then we'll move on to creating the section. So this, we have our table, right? That's just a table. We don't really need to add anything to it. If you want, you can add a monitor or you can add some books and whatnot. You know, you can make it more lively, but it's just a table, so that's fine. And we have a bed. So for the table, I need a chair. So I'll just kind of create a circle that's, let's go for radius of a chair. Radius of a chair. Let's say 20 centimeters. So 40 centimeters in diameter. No, that's too little. Circle, let's do 50. So 25 centimeters in radius, something like that. And my chair is going to, let's say it has a back brace that is an arc. So I will just offset it inwards by 5 centimeters. I'll just grab I'll just create 2 line tools here, or 2 lines here to both sides. And then I'll just go to town trimming everything that I don't need. So I trim, enter, enter. I don't need this, 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 or that. That's it. This whole thing gets joined. So now it's a single polyline, and this is another polyline, or rather a circle. So here, this guy right here is going to be medium. This guy right here is going to be thin. And the chair is going to be, what I like to do is I like to rotate the chair just a tiny bit. That's not a tiny bit, so let me rotate it back just a tiny bit to make it more lively, and place it underneath the table slightly, right? Trim away with the table, there we go. Just so that it's, you know, under the table, and you can see that it's actually a chair. So that is that. Now for the bed. The bed. We really need just pillows and the bed sheets, right, to show this as a bed. So that's not going to be tricky. I'm going to just grab a rectangle tool and I'll just make 2 random rectangles for the pillows. Pillows are not that accurate, so I can kind of get away in making weird ones. Just for reference, I'll measure the distance. That's 300 millimeters. So I will fillet all of the pillows by 130 millimeters or 140 millimeters, right? So all of the corners get filleted. Wait, that's again fillet R, enter, 140, enter. There we go. Now it works. Okay. So just fillet. Right now I should probably, I forgot to mention one thing. There's one more snapping option that you can accidentally enable, and that's called grid snapping, which I believe is, yeah, it's right here. Snapping mode grid. If you have this turned on, then your cursor, or when you're trying to draw something, it's going to snap to the grid lines, like so. That is obnoxious, and I absolutely hate that. So just make sure that grid snapping right here in the bottom is turned off, right? Just a tip. Okay, so we have 2 weird pillows here, one large one, one smaller one. That's fine. I can actually place them together and trim the, let's say, the large one with the small one, like that. Go away. Like that. I will make them thin, like so. So those are two pillows, and let me just position them a little bit more centered, like so. Then we have a bed sheet that will go over the pillows. So it just kind of goes over them like so, right? And it trims away half of the pillows. That is the bed sheet. And the bed sheet, usually the way I personally prefer doing it is it has this kind of a fold here, right? So it's folded out. That's it. That's the bed with 2 pillows kind of tucked away behind the bed sheet. All right, we have this this plan. Then the plan. Let's move on to creating a section. So, or no, sorry. Well, maybe. Apologies, just a second. I'm gonna think, can we move into section making? Yeah, let's move into section making. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to mark out where we're going to cut the building through, right? With what's the cutting line. So I'm just going to create a straight line segment, like that, and I'm just going to see where, with the move tool, where I can position it so that it cuts and shows the most things. So my thoughts are, and usually you don't want to cut through the furniture. You either show the furniture in the projection of the cut, or you don't, right? But you don't cut through the furniture. In this case, we are going to be cutting through the sink, but that is fine. If you are cutting through furniture, you're not hatching it in, so you're not filling in the cut. That is important to note. You're just showing it as if it's in the projection. Let's do that. I think we can do that because we'll see quite a bit. And my viewing direction is going to be that way, right? So I'm going to see, I'm going to be cutting through the window, through the sink, through the door, through another door, through another window, I'm going to be seeing the door, the side of the cabinet here, or the side of the shelf here, the kitchen area, kitchen front. I'll see side of the window and the toilet. What I won't see is the shower, the bedroom, or the bed and the work table, which is fine. It's, you can't add everything to a single section. Usually you need to do more than one section to show everything in the building. That's fine. So the way I really like doing this is, first I will go to layer properties here, and I'll just create a new layer and I'll call it helper. Helper layer, and it can be white, that's fine. Just a single additional layer. I'll make it my active layer. So that's my helper. And what I want to do is basically make a cut here. So I need to have all of the correct dimensions. So my workflow, and it might be, I think it's a workflow of everyone who uses AutoCAD, is just dragging out the lines, or maybe I should draw it from here just so that it's clear, more clear for you. Dragging out the main lines that I wanna keep working with, right? That I will see in this section. So that can come in later. Well, no, let's do it now. Like that. Then this is gonna be a line. This doesn't necessarily need to be a line, but I'll add it. Then we have the whole kitchen area. So this edge right here is gonna be a line. And then we will have the last line here. So we have a bunch of like vertical lines extended. There's like that, I forgot the name of it. Just a second. How is it called? Construction line? I think it's construction line. Yeah. So there is one more tool that can be used, and it's called construction line. So it's located right here, or the shortcut for it is X line. And the thing about X lines is that they are infinite in length, right? So you can use construction lines, but this is a very simple project, so I'm not really using them, right, in this case. So I'm just dragging out regular ones. Right, so we have that. And now I will just start drawing, right? So I'll create, let's stick to the helper layer for now. First thing that I do is I'll just draw a horizontal line. This is going to be my ground, right? This is my ground line. And basically my building starts here with this line and ends here with this line, right? And I'm taking that projection and looking at it. All right, so I have that going on. And now I can actually start drawing, right? So let me go and create a thick, line here, and create a polyline. Sorry, change this to thick layer and create a polyline. And I'll just draw out in between the walls. So this wall right here and this wall right here, in between them, I'll draw out the floor slab. So I know that the floor slab will start from here, will end here. Its height is going to be something around, I would say 400 millimeters. Something like that, 400. Finishes up here, bam, that's done. That's my floor slab. And I accidentally drew it above the ground line, right? So this is like our ground cut, where we start cutting through the earth. So this is air, this is This is air, this is earth, right? So I'm going to just take this and move it into the ground, like that. Okay, so that is done. Now, my walls, right? I'll just kind of create the walls. So the question is, how high is the ceiling going to be, and what kind of roof are we going to have? Okay, that's the main question. And I haven't sketched this out, so I have no idea. My thoughts are, let's have an awkward pitched roof. Why the heck not? Right? Let's have an awkward pitched roof. Maybe. Give me a second, and I'm just thinking. Or no, I will not be making a pitched roof. Instead, I'll make like a separated, some sort of a separated roof here. Why not? So I need the height of the ceiling, right? So I will offset this ground line by how much? By how much? I can also just copy it up as well. Let's say the ceiling height in my shower is just going to be 2,600 millimeters, 2.6 meters. Which is probably going to be pretty high. Yeah, that's pretty high. Let's do less. Offset 2,400 millimeters. Also pretty high. Go again. Offset 2,300 millimeters. I don't want to go lower than that. So okay, so that's my ceiling height in this area. And for this area, I will want a higher ceiling height. So let's say offset 3,000. Yeah, let's just do 3 meters, 3,000 millimeters. Something like that. So that's going to be the ceiling height in this area right here. I think that's gonna work. I think that should work, right? Yeah, that should work. Yeah, it's gonna work. Okay, so now I have my floor slab. I need to create walls, right? So I'll just grab a Polyline tool and I will just start drawing in the walls. So my wall here is going to look like that. Enter, right? And my wall here is going to be larger. It's going to look like that. Enter, right? So I have one wall here, and the ground slab here, or the floor slab here. Okay, so we have that done. Now for the actual roof slabs, I will create more offsets here. Bear with me. Offset. And the roof is usually thicker than the walls. These days, the roof is around 700 millimeters thick in buildings. But for this particular summer house, I think we can get away with 500, 400 millimeters. I'll just do 400. Well, 450. Let's have the middle ground here. So I will offset it by 450, and I'll offset the ceiling, the high ceiling up by 450, and the smaller ceiling up by 450, like that. That's a lot of lines to look at now, right? And you will get used to it eventually. Now, actually, what I can just do is I can take a rectangle tool and just draw out the roof slab. Let's say, how far will the lower roof slab reach? Probably until here, right? And then we will have the large roof slab going on here. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the trick. So I have this line marked out, and this is going to be how far the bottom roof slab reaches. So I'm just going to draw out Now yeah, it's this line here. So I'm just going to draw out a rectangle like so. That's my bottom roof slab. And then for the top roof slab, of course, it continues on from where the bottom roof slab ended, until here. There we go. So we have roof, roof, wall, wall, floor. Let me delete all of the horizontal lines. We don't need them anymore. We will be working with vertical lines, but we don't need the horizontal ones anymore. Right, so we have that going on. Now let's create some foundation blocks, because this is a little bit obnoxious, right? The way this connection looks like, that's not a strong connection. So I'll create a polyline. I'll just create a block that, how deep is the floor? So the floor is 400 millimeters deep. So I'll create a foundation block that is plus, let's say plus 600 millimeters. So the foundation block is going to be 1 meter deep from the wall, right? So polyline going down 1000 millimeters, finishing up here, connecting as a rectangle. Same thing here. Well, actually, let's just copy it. Why not? Copy from here to here. So that's the foundation that's going into the ground. Okay, that is done. Now, I kind of want to clean everything up, right? So I will hide the helper layer for just a tiny bit. I will hide it. And I want to join everything up into one big happy family. And also one more thing that I want to do is add a wall segment right here, because these two roofs need to connect, right? So I will create a polyline from here to here, and it's going to be, let's do, honestly, I would want to do 400 millimeters, but in this case, let's do 250. 250. And how long is it? 700 millimeters down, and just close it off like that. Okay. So now we have our shape. And honestly, the way I would do this, I could start trimming and joining, but this is going to be so much faster if I just change this to medium layer, turn on thick layer, or change this to medium layer, escape out, and redraw everything in thick layer as a single or as two polylines, like that. So just going around the perimeter. Yep, messed it up. There we go. And then going around the inner perimeter, like that. Then I just hide the thick layer, turn the current layer off, whatever. Delete the medium layer and turn the thick layer again. And I messed it up. So there needs to be a line here, and it needs to be joined up. There we go. You should see something like this, right? So that is the section of your, or rather the exterior envelope of this particular building, right, that I want. I also will add, just so that I don't forget, I will add ground here and here. That's the ground cut line. And I will actually take this ground cut line and I will move it down by 5 or 50 millimeters, just so that the floor slab is 5 centimeters higher than the ground. The reason for that is when it's raining, you don't want the rain to visit your house, right? So that's the reason. Also, it's good for kind of brushing the dirt out of the building as well, as you leave the building. Okay, So that's ground, that's our little building here. Let's continue on. So now I want to add partitioning walls because I can see that there is going to be a partitioning wall here where we will also show that we are cutting through the doorway. And also there's going to be like a retaining or partitioning wall that we will just see in the back, right? So we need that as well. Let's do that. Let us do that. So I will go into my helper. I will enable my helper layer, and I'll start drawing some rectangles. Rectangle. So partitioning wall right here. That, just a rectangle. Then there's no partitioning wall here, but there is going to be a partitioning wall here, but I accidentally forgot to add. Do we need to add, or maybe we can use this? It can be kind of joined up with the shelf in a way. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it this way. I'll just create one more helper line from this point here downwards. We'll create a thick line, rectangle, just something like so, like that. And I will create a very weird, with a medium line. Or rather this, sorry. This needs to be a medium line because we are not cutting through it, of course. We are not cutting through it, so it is indeed medium line thickness. And I will create one more medium line that shows the shelf at the side. So it's gonna look like, it's gonna look weird, but that is fine. That is okay. Usually you don't have these kind of weird gaps here, but actually we can kind of, since we are here, can I just kind of fix it? Yeah, let's fix it. So I'll delete the 2 helper lines or 4 helper lines that I don't need anymore. I will kind of add them later on. I don't need these anymore as well. Actually, I don't need any of these anymore. Great, we can delete all of them. And I want to fix this area right here. This is an awkward area. So what I'm going to do is I will go in here. Oh, I know. So let me just create a line segment here just so that I don't forget where it ends. And all I will do is just take these points and move them to perpendicular snap. What the hell? Perpendicular snapping is turned on. Why is this not working? Fine. We will do it the other way around. I will trim, enter, delete that segment here. I will extend this line to here, or enter, extend to here, enter this line, like that. And then I will create a thick line segment right here. That, and I will fillet. There we go. Fillet with radius of 0. So fillet radius 0 from here to here. So that is done, and now it just needs to be joined up properly. Join. Should be good. Yes, it's good. So, right. And now just a rectangle for the shelf, like that. Okay, so now it's done. Sorry. Just wanted to clean it up a little bit, just to make it a bit nicer. Okay, so we have that done. Now for let's add the doors and the windows into the walls, right? So let's start with a window opening. here on the left hand side, right? So my windowsill is going to be probably somewhere around, I'll just start drawing here from the bottom up. It's going to be offset, and I'm going to offset it 1.1 meters, 1100, something like that. And the height of the window is probably going to be until the roof, right? So I'm just going to not even measure, but just draw it like that. That's it, right? I will change this to the thick layer, select it, trim, get rid of that, join everything up. That's done, right? So the window opening is done, and then it's absolutely the same procedure as what we've done in the plan. So I will not be kind of talking about it. I'll just really quickly be recreating it. And I'll actually even make a shortcut. I'll just borrow the existing window here, like that. There we go. So we have a window here. Doorway. Doorway is very simple. All we need to do is just, well, we need to know how high the doorway is, and it is 2.1 meters high. Oh, that's that's almost nothing. That's almost nothing. Okay, and I will just trim. Trim, enter. Trim away everything except for the top, you know, this little area right here. And actually I want to join it in with the roof. So I will trim, enter, like that, join everything up. It gets joined up into the incorrect layer, so I'll just switch the layers around like that. Now let's go for the thick line, because we are going to be cutting through the doors, and just add a door segment here. Honestly, let's make it a little bit nicer. I'll just borrow the frame. We will just use the same frame for the door. Copy from here to here, like that. That's the frame for the door, and maybe we can make it a little bit nicer as well. Yeah, let's just make it nice. So that frame is going to be all the way through, and it's going to be 5 centimeters thick and 40 centimeters wide. It's a wide frame, right? And it's going to have a door going through from the middle of it, like that. So we are cutting through the door, and we also see the back of the frame as per usual, right? So we see this wall right here in our projection. So that is going to be a medium line, and it's going to be a rectangle, like so. Can't draw a rectangle properly. Let me just draw a polyline then instead. 140 millimeters width. There we go. So that's our doorway, right? And that's done. Now to show a doorway in the projection, I already have the 2.1 meter height here, so I don't really need to invent anything. And I know that this doorway is 90 centimeters wide, so I don't really need to kind of make any calculations. I can just do this. 900. Bam, 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 like that. And then, then I kind of want to, I don't really need the bottom line, do I? Okay, let me explode. So I explode this polyline. I will delete the bottom line. I will take this these line segments that are left. Again, it's upside down U now. I will join them up. Perfect. And I will offset all of this by 50 millimeters inwards. So that's our frame for the door. And for the handle, I will just, where's that water tap? I'll just use the handle here. Doesn't need to be precise, just something like that. So that's the handle. And that's honestly it in terms of the doorway. That's our shelf. That's good. That's our wall. It's also good. Then we have the kitchen cabinet, and we have another really large window here. So for this window, I know that here I'll have a kitchen cabinet, and the kitchen cabinet is always 1.1 meters high. So this window line that I drew here kind of continues on, right? And the first thing that I'm going to do is I will make a I'll probably make something like this, right? So the window is going to be located here, and then I have the possibility to add shelving here in the top. I think storage. I think that's fine. So I will trim, enter, cut away that part, right? Because that's where the window is going to be located. Now I can delete. And I will draw 2 line segments here, as per usual. Join everything up. Change the layer. Change the layer of this one as well. There we go. And honestly, I think I can just kind of cheat and do this. Yes, I can. Okay, so I'll just take that window and place it in there as well. So we have that, but also I have the window going until here, right? Because I see this window area here, and it's actually not going until the wall. It's actually stopping right here, right? So I will have, let me draw this U shape here. I will have a window here like that, which means that now I don't see this line anymore because it's a corner window, right? So I don't have neither this nor this line anymore, so I can just delete it, right? Because as I'm looking through this, I never see the, here I see the wall, here I won't see the wall, right? Because I'm looking through it. I have a window that goes through the whole facade. So that's done. Now I will offset 50 millimeters. I will offset this by 50 millimeters like that. And I will actually extend it just by grabbing the control points. Or you can use extend tool, that's fine as well. I'll extend it until this window. So this is the frame that we see, right? Now I can see that there are going to be divisions here. Well, at least one division here. So I'm just going to kind of draw out those 2 lines because I'm lazy. Like that. And I'll use trim, enter, enter, to kind of clean everything up. So, come on. There we go. And then get rid of the rest. So that's my window. That's all I need to show. Now for the kitchen cabinets, and actually maybe I'll stick to this. For the kitchen cabinets, it's going to be just a polyline and just a rectangle. Or maybe we can do, let's do it this way. From here to here, 600 millimeters. Down here, bam, bam. So that is like one block. Copy that. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. So that is my kitchen, and my refrigerator is actually going to be larger than that. So I will say that my refrigerator is a narrow boy that just kind of fits in there like this, right? Now for the top shelving, I actually kind of want to have shelves in the top. So I'm just going to say there's going to be like a single cabinet here, and then there is going to be like open shelving here. So I'll just offset it inwards by 50 millimeters. So that is open shelving, and this is like closed cabinet shelving to which I can add a handle like that. Right? We can do a water tap as well. Wait, where is our water? There we go. It's there, right? So I will just kind of create a circle, trim, bam, trim, enter, bam, do something like that. Create a polyline that does something like that. Offset 20, offset it so that it's like, or rather, let's first fillet. Fillet also 20 millimeters. Why does fillet? Oh, right, fillet, enter, R, enter. Let's not use 20, let's use 50 millimeters between here and here, like this. And now I can offset by 20 millimeters outwards like that. Just kind of close off the polyline like so. Join everything up, and now do a little bit of trimming. So trim that and that. Thin line. Go lower. Trim. Come on, trim. Enter. There we go. And you need to be also trimmed. Yeah. Sorry. So just, you know, awkward water tap with some big, really big knob. Whatever. Okay, so we have that going on, and that is fine. That looks okay. There is still sink and toilet that are left to do, so I'll really quickly do it. So for the sink, I'm thinking of having something like this. How wide is the sink? I believe we used 400, right? So it's going to be 400 mil here. Then it goes down by let's say 100 mil, something like that. And then it goes at an angle. And that angle doesn't really matter right now, so I'm just going to say something like that. Sure. Right? That's it. Fillet corner, or just fillet. Radius 30. Just fillet those radii like that. That's our sink. Where is my trusty tap? It's right there. I'll just kind of rearrange it. Scale this bad boy 0.5. Move to here, and this trims away. Tap. Yeah, that's good. So that's our sink, and then we have the last thing as our bowl, and I will just take a look at the bowl, how it looks like from the front. That's ugly. There's like a nicer one. Yeah, that's good enough. So it just goes kind of straight down. Well, it does make a bend and it goes in a little bit. That's fine. Let's do it that way. So I will create 2 guidelines here. Oh, that's not how you want to do it. Guideline here, guideline here. How high are the bowls as well? 450. So they are 450 millimeters high. That's good to know. Where's my AutoCAD? How do we do this? So there's going to be a line here. It needs to go down and in. Okay, so let's do an offset. by how much it's going to kind of go in. Let's say by 5 centimeters, like that, like that. Now let's draw a line at the bottom, at the base, and let's offset it by 450 millimeters. That's the top of the bowl. And let's offset it down by, I don't know, 150 millimeters. This is from where it's going to kind of become thinner. And now I just need to trace around. So from here to here to here, 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 until here. Enter. Delete all of the guidelines, like that. That's our bowl. Yeah, the proportion is fine. I'll keep it. That's all we need to do. And the flush, the flush button is located here. Now for the storage, there is going to be. I have made that cabinet in the back of the bathroom, so there is going to be storage involved here. So I'll just draw a polyline from. Let's say the storage starts at the sink level. So from here upwards, let's say for the toilet rolls, all of the, stuff that you need at hand. Let's just give it 300 millimeters, something like that. So this is going to be like open storage, right? This area. So I'll just give it a frame of 50 millimeters. Just to show the frame. Oh, that's 50 is too much. Maybe let's not give it. No, I will give it a frame. Offset 18 millimeters. That's the thickness of an MDF board. Like that, we need to clean this up a bit. Trim. No. There we go. So that's storage, and then above it, we will have like 3 panels. I think we will have 3 panels. Yeah, let's do 3 panels. So from this side, we will offset by how much? By how much? By how much? If that's a meter, then we can do 300, 300, 400. I think that's reasonable. So let's do an offset of 300 centimeters or millimeters, offset by 400 millimeters, something like that. So that is kind of storage above the toilet. Done. That's enough. That's enough. I think we have the door, we have the shelf here, we have the retaining wall, we have the partitioning wall, window, everything that we see here, everything that we see here. Okay, section is done. Let's learn one last thing and then we will call it a day. So one last thing is hatch. And by the way, for this section, let's make the mark out a little bit nicer as well, because it's a little bit, so let's make the mark out a little bit nicer. Usually, there's no kind of convention for what kind of section markups to use. The one that I really like using is a line segment that is, I don't know. In this case, it's going to be like 600 millimeters, something like that. It's kind of a line segment here. Then we have, then I offset it. And I'll offset it by 300 millimeters. No, that is way too much. I'm sorry. I will offset it by 100 millimeters. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. And I will draw to the midpoint here this arrow, and I'll just join up this arrow. So now I have a line and I have an arrow, just like here, line and arrow. Arrow is showing the viewing direction for this section. And later I will add text here, or I can add text here now. So the shortcut is text, enter. You specify the start point here and you type in, or you specify the height of the text. So what's the height? What's the height? I don't know. Let's do 200 for now, and we will switch it up if it's too small. So height is 200, enter, and rotation angle of text 0, enter, and now I can type in finally. So text A. That's it. Escape. We just wrote A, right? And I'm just going to kind of center it. So once I name this section, it's going to be named section A-A, or A. Is it the dash? It's probably a dash. AA, section AA. And I will just place that section markup right here, make a copy of it to the other side of the building. Very important to have section markups in your project. Please do so. Right. So that's text, right? Adding text, that's nothing too fancy. It's just basically you read what it asks of you in the command line, and you'll be good to go. The text will need a separate layer. So let me go to layer properties and let me create one more layer. And I'll call it text. Right, so that's going to be my text layer, and my text is going to be yellow. Sure. And then I'm going to create one more layer, even more layers, yes, one more layer, and call it hatch. So hatch is basically fill, right? In Photoshop and Illustrator, you have fill. In CAD software, you have hatch. So hatch layer, and I'll make it red, green, cyan, yellow, pink, or magenta, right? So let's have a hatch layer with magenta color. Close that. Now I will take my markups and I'll place them in the text layer, like so. And now I will use hatch, right, to fill in the walls. So I'll make hatch layer my active one, and I'll type in hatch, or shortcut for it is just H. Enter. So that's hatch. And once I have typed it in, it will give me the settings for the hatch, of course, where I can choose different patterns. Yes, the word is pattern, different patterns, right? And also, like, I can change the transparency, the angle, and so on. So let me let's do it this way. Let me create a rectangle, like so, and hatch it in, right? So if I just click inside of the rectangle and hit enter, that's it. It's hatched in, right? And this is it even has a pattern if I zoom in, right? And the pattern is super dense, so it looks kind of filled in from when I am zoomed out. So that's a lot of bad things happening with the hatch. Let me select the hatch and delete it. Let me also do a rectangle that is not closed, right? There's a gap here. Hatch. Click. Cannot be determined, right? Hatch cannot be made. Close. Shows me even where. So it only works with stuff that is closed off, right? Can you go away, please? Oh my God, now I'm gonna... Anyway, let's ignore those two circles here. So it only works with enclosed boundaries. That's the first thing. The second thing, the scaling is very important, and it does become super heavy if you have a pattern for the hatch, but your scaling is so small that it looks like a solid, and you think that you have a solid hatch, like a solid fill, but it's actually a very, very tiny pattern. Your computer will get super slow because of that. So let me do hatch again. And here I can choose a pattern, right? So the solid pattern is just basically fill in, right? It's just filling in. Then you have the angled patterns, and you have a bunch of them actually. Is it possible for me? Yeah. So I can click on that small icon there, and I can see all of the patterns that I can choose from. Oh my God, so bad. So let's not look at the bad patterns. Let's just talk about these, what you have here. So hatch patterns usually determine the material that you're cutting through. And if it's a solid hatch, it's usually you saying that don't worry about the material for now. This is just a proposal entry project, and the material doesn't matter, right? But if you later down the line, if you want to kind of add materiality to your drawings, explaining that, oh, this is concrete, while this is wood, while this is steel, then you use hatches, different hatches that determine it. So the regular angled hatch, this one where I have my mouse, is concrete usually, right? It's concrete. Then the one right next to it, the one with the double line, well, okay. The tricky thing is that it changes between country to country, right? The regulations change between country to country. But to my knowledge, most of the countries use this as steel, metal, right? So that's the hatch for metal. And the third one is hatch for wood, right? So that is 3 main hatches that you kind of go through once you introduce materiality. For now, I'm just going to use solid hatch. Well, actually, I do need to talk about scaling. Solid hatch doesn't have any scaling because it's solid, right? It's filled in, while these do. So you can change the density of the hatch. So let's talk about this. Let's choose concrete, right? The regular angled hatch. Sure. Once I have this chosen, and I hover my mouse over the rectangle, I see it as solid. But if I zoom in, it is still solid. No, it's not. There we go. It's all messed up, right? It's super dense. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to change the density. And the density is changed right here. Hatch pattern scale, right? If I change the scale to 100, enter, and I hover my mouse over the rectangle, now you can see that the hatch has 100 times larger scale, and that is actually too big. So let's do 50. Yeah, that's fine. Just to show you, So that's 50. Then you have possibility to change the angle. So this is, the default hatch. What if I wanted just horizontal? Well, I just changed the angle to 45. Well, that's vertical, but you get the idea, right? So minus 45 would be horizontal, right? So that is how you change the rotation of the hatch. Super useful. For now, I will keep it at 0, and the default value for the hatch is 0 degrees. Then you have transparency. Don't mess around with transparency. Ignore the transparency. There's one more thing, and that is one more useful thing, and that is set origin. And it's basically let me just create this hatch and then click on it. Once it's created and I click on it, it will give me the hatch editor tab again, right? As if I was editing it. And now I can change the origin, right? So this is a point from which AutoCAD starts hatching your geometry, right? So if I click on this set origin now, and I choose, let's say, this point right here, right? The hatch will be aligned with that particular point. So when you need something precise in terms of how it's hatched, that set origin point is a lifesaver for sure. Yeah, that's about it in terms of hatching. So now let's hatch our buildings. Hatch, enter. I will actually use the angled hatch, why not? And I will just be clicking inside of the walls, because that's the stuff that we cut through, right? I could be hatching inside of the frames, window frames, but that's not, no, way too small. No need to hatch those. So that's the walls that are done. Enter. And actually the hatch is pretty big, pretty coarse. So what I can do is I can just select it, go back here to hatch editor, and then just change the density to like 20 maybe. Yeah, 20 is nicer. That is now hatched in. And let's do the same thing with the ground, because I want the ground to be hatched in as well. So I'm just going to create a temporary polyline here. Maybe a little bit smaller. Maybe it just goes from here to here. Something like that. Maybe a little bit longer there. This is just you don't need to be precise with this. Just hatching in the ground. So it's something like this, and then I will start from my polyline, start there, just make a horizontal line, and just use fillet with radius of 0 to kind of fillet these two guys together. So now I have a closed polyline, and I will hatch it. And I will place a hatch inside, and I will change it to a different kind of a pattern. I'm just thinking, what kind of pattern should I use? Maybe I'll still use the angled one, but I will change the angle to 45 degrees, something like that, and I will change the density to 30, something like that. That should be good enough. And now I don't need that border anymore, so I'll just delete it, just to have the hatch, right? Okay. I think that is it. Can I check? I will just check the notes. Just give me a second. Array, next time. Array is whatever, not important. Text, oh, I already showed you text, that's good. Less things to show you tomorrow, so that's fine. Yeah, so that's good. Everything that I wanted to show today is shown. Tomorrow we will work on the axonometry, and we will finish up the project. Right? So that's that. Go to work and enjoy the process. Later. Bye.